Chapter 1, The morning that said everything. Graduation morning always felt like it belonged in a movie. The crispness in the air, the soft panic of a curling iron left on too long, the scent of flowers, perfume, and expectation. But that morning, it already felt like the ending had been written, and I wasn't part of it. That I woke up to noise from the hallway, my sister's laughter echoing as she shouted to our mom that the limousine had arrived early. A limousine. I hadn't even known she was getting one. No one told me that. I lay there in my room, staring at the ceiling, phone in hand, waiting for something. Maybe a text from mom saying good luck, or dad checking in with, proud of you too, kiddo. But nothing came. Just group chat notifications about brunch plans after my sister's ceremony. Nothing about mine. We were graduating the same day, from different programs. She was finishing her business undergrad, while I was finally completing my degree in education, after 3 years off, 2 jobs, and one mental breakdown that almost made me quit. At 8:15 a.m., I walked into the kitchen, already dressed in my gown. My cap sat lopsided on my head, and I could still feel the steam of my rushed shower on my back. My mom looked up and said, "Oh honey, you're wearing it already?" Before I could answer, my sister waltzed in like a Pinterest board, perfect curls, glossy lips, pink and gold honor cords glistening in the light. "You coming with us or taking your own ride?" she asked. I blinked. "I wasn't invited to ride with you." She shrugged. "Oh. Sorry, I thought you'd have your own thing figured out." My mom handed her a bouquet of white lilies wrapped in silk ribbon. No flowers for me. I walked out, grabbing my car keys in silence. My phone buzzed right as I started the engine. It was a message from my dad, "Don't forget to smile. Make it look like we were there too." That was it. No, good luck. No, we love you. Just a reminder to fake the photo, and that's when it hit me, this wasn't an oversight. This was the role I'd been assigned in this family, background character, but what none of them knew was that today, something unexpected was going to shift, and it would all begin with a name being called, twice. Chapter 2, 2 graduations, one invisible daughter. The university held separate ceremonies for each department, and mine was scheduled an hour after my sister's. That meant they could attend hers, take the family photos, eat the brunch, and, according to my phone, they'd try to catch the tail end of mine. I sat in my car outside the education building, watching people hug their parents, fix their tassels, take photos under balloon arches. I saw signs with names, glitter, big-headed cutouts, even matching t-shirts that read, "Proud parent of a graduate." No one made a shirt for me. That moment, my sister sent a picture in the family group chat. She was holding her diploma in one hand, the other flashing a peace sign beside the white limousine. Our parents flanked her, beaming. She captioned it, "Couldn't have done it without my support team." 2 heart sparkles. My screen stayed blank. No, good luck. No, you're next. Just hearts and claps from aunts and cousins. I slipped my phone into my pocket and walked inside the auditorium. We were organized alphabetically. I found my seat near the middle of the row and scanned the crowd. I didn't expect to see anyone I knew, but a ridiculous part of me still hoped someone, anyone, would have changed their mind, but they hadn't. The dean walked to the podium and gave a lovely, rehearsed speech about educators as the backbone of society, how we were shaping future generations. I looked around at my peers, some wiping tears, some holding hands with proud parents beside them, and felt like I was watching someone else's moment. When the names started, I zoned out. I only tuned back in when we were close to the T's: Carla Thompson, Megan Tilson, Julia Tran, and then Samantha Turner. I stood, walked across the stage, smiled at the photographer, accepted my diploma with both hands. I paused, just long enough for a polite applause, and walked off stage. That was it. That no one stood. No one cheered louder. No bouquet waited for me backstage. Just polite, generic applause and a silent walk back to my seat, until I sat down, and heard the mic crackle again. Ladies and gentlemen, the principal's voice came through. We have one more special acknowledgement before we close the ceremony. Everyone shifted in their seats. My heart skipped. He cleared his throat. This student not only returned to complete her degree after a significant academic leave, but she also did so while working 2 jobs and maintaining a GPA above 3.8. She was selected by faculty to receive this year's Resilience in Education Award. The air changed. I froze. He looked down at his note. Samantha Turner, would you please come back to the stage? Chapter 3, the applause that wasn't meant for her. I stood up, slowly, like my legs had forgotten how to move. For a second, I thought maybe he had said the wrong name. Maybe there was another Samantha Turner in the building, but as I stepped back onto the stage, I saw the principal smile at me, then gesture to a small velvet box resting on the podium. This award, he said, is given not just for academic achievement, but for perseverance. For returning to the path when it would have been easier to walk away. Samantha Turner, you've reminded us all why we do what we do. A ripple of clapping began, polite at first. Then stronger. Fuller. I heard a few cheers. Then someone whistled. Then people stood, not a lot, but enough to feel seen. Enough to feel like maybe I hadn't just survived the program, I had earned my place in it.as I accepted the small gold-plated plaque from the velvet box. I caught sight of movement near the entrance of the auditorium. Someone had just come in, a bit disheveled, looking around like they weren't sure they were in the right place. It was my dad. He wasn't smiling. He wasn't holding flowers. He was just there. Our eyes met, and he gave me a tight, sheepish nod. He hadn't come for the whole thing. He hadn't even seen me cross the stage the first time, but he'd walked in just in time for this. I don't know what he'd expected to see. Maybe just another diploma. Another average moment, but he didn't see average. He saw an entire auditorium on its feet. He saw his daughter being recognized not just as a graduate, but as someone who overcame everything in silence and still showed up. And in that moment, I saw something too, the disappointment I'd felt that morning. It was no longer mine to carry. I had already outrun it. The principal handed me a second certificate with a ribbon, and as I turned back toward the audience, something unexpected happened. My classmates were cheering. People I barely knew were clapping like they'd known me forever. The students behind me reached out for high fives as I walked down the stairs again. No one looked at me like an afterthought anymore. I walked back to my seat with trembling hands. I had come expecting nothing, and now I had something no one could take away. Chapter 4, the walk to the parking lot. The ceremony ended 20 minutes later. People stood for photos. Faculty hugged students. There was laughter, confetti, and at least 6 different Class of the Year signs being used as props. I stood off to the side, holding my award and diploma like I was afraid to bend either. My feet ached, but I couldn't leave yet. I kept looking toward the back, unsure if he'd actually stayed. Then I saw him, Dad, leaning against the far wall, hands in his jacket pockets, sunglasses tucked into the neckline of his shirt. He looked like a man who didn't quite know why he came, but something had pulled him there anyway. He walked up slowly. Hey, he said. Hey, I answered. We stood in silence, then he nodded toward the plaque. Didn't know you were getting that. Neither did I replied. He rubbed the back of his neck. Your sister's ceremony was earlier. Lot of people. Flowers. She's having a lunch now. I waited for him to say more. Maybe explain why he didn't come to mine. Maybe apologize. He didn't, but then he surprised me. You were always the quiet one. The one who didn't ask for much. I looked at him, unsure where he was going with that. I guess I got used to you figuring things out. Thought maybe you didn't need all that other stuff. Like a ride? I said. Like flowers? He winced. Not in anger. In shame, yeah. Like that. I didn't say anything that he cleared his throat. But today, I saw something. I saw you get that award. Saw people stand for you. And I thought, maybe I've missed a lot more than I realized. His voice cracked a little at the end that I wasn't used to seeing my dad emotional. He was the kind of man who solved problems by checking boxes and moving on. But now, he stood there like a man who finally saw the hole he'd helped create. You know, I said quietly, I didn't need the limousine. I didn't need the big lunch. I just needed to feel like someone saw me too. He looked down, then he did something simple, but heavy. He held out his car keys. Ride home? He asked. It wasn't an apology, but maybe it was a start. Chapter 5, The Ride Home. And what came after the ride home was quiet. No music. No small talk. Just the sound of the car engine and the occasional turn signal clicking. My dad kept both hands on the wheel, eyes on the road, like he was afraid that if he looked at me too long, I'd disappear again, but I was there. Right beside him. And I wasn't shrinking this time. When we pulled into the driveway, I expected the usual. He'd hand me my things, pat my shoulder, and head inside. But instead, he turned off the engine and looked at me for a long time. You know, I watched the principal when he called your name, he said. He lit up. Like he was proud to be the one to do it. I nodded. He saw me when no one else did. He let out a breath. I should have seen you sooner. I didn't respond. I didn't need to. Some moments don't need more words. Just acknowledgement. Inside, my sister's celebration was still going on. Balloons everywhere. Music. Laughter. People lifting glasses and talking over each other. She lit up the room. That was always her gift, but as I walked in, holding my plaque and diploma, a few heads turned. One of my cousins noticed. Wait, you graduated too? He asked. I just smiled. Why Dad answered before I could. She didn't just graduate. She got the only standing ovation. The room fell quiet, just for a second, and in that small, beautiful silence, I felt it. Recognition, not because I shouted for it. Not because I demanded to be seen. But because I kept going, even when no one was watching. Epilogue. 2 weeks later, a small envelope arrived in the mail from the school. Inside was a handwritten card from the principal. In all my years of ceremonies, I've rarely seen someone move a room like that. You reminded everyone, faculty and students, that some of the brightest victories come quietly. And sometimes, the quiet ones are the ones who change everything. I kept that card on my desk, next to my plaque, and every time I look at it, I remember, I didn't need a limousine. I just needed a microphone, and the courage to walk back up when my name was called again.